Yeah, we'll never know if the cover version of that solo was. It more than likely was a bad note, but they're like, the other 99% is beautiful. We'll keep it.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the goal with Mersey and actually a lot of early 60s and 50s is that push pull, and then really making, instead of being cool with all these notes, same with the drums. You know, you're really not trying to be cool on the drums. You're trying to work with the song complement, and then make, in your case, the notes sing. So a little bending, a little sliding, then the technicality. But with that, ain't that just like me? That was just so cool because that's kind of random and just almost um, before their time type of lick. I thought,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
that was 64, I want to say. Um, took that lick. No offense, but I feel like he might have still done it better than you.
I think so.
So with difficulty challenges, were there any difficult songs or parts for you?
The ones where we had to do a lot of takes were more difficult or had long, repetitive rhythm parts. Like, I want to say what I'd say was one, we had to do a lot of takes.
Ah,
There were certain songs where it was like they're long enough so that if we weren't closely following the lyrics or something, we could lose our place in the form.
oh yeah.
And
Just the same thing.
yeah,
The whole song. I feel sorry for Christian. I'm thinking about that now.
so in the long songs, my hands cramp up.
uh,
Although rock climbing has taught me a new level of hand cramp, but still, still happens on guitar too.
wow.
Other
Yeah.
than that,
That I do remember you talking about like those bar chords, the songs with the bar chords, or was it maybe it was Ain't That Just Like Me with the acoustic? We had to retake that a few times.
oh
Get
shoot,
the sound, and you're like,
yeah,
my hands
I'm,
cramping. I'm like, this is a freaking
I'm
1
not an
minute.
acoustic player. My hand strength is shot. That was a hard one. Yeah, for sure.
Because you played the entire acoustic guitar through the song, right?
Yeah, and that was like, I mean, we record for like hours. It's like all day. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and then on top of that, or we did that first, and then the rest of the day was just like, sorry, I need to like ice my hand before we start.
I'm not that dramatic.
Sorry, I would probably, but yeah, and it's only 1 minute 40 seconds long song, so that just like to tell you. Plus my guitar is kind of old, which he used, um, just to kind of give a more genuine sound, because there's it's not a perfect sounding guitar, but it's like good enough for the quality, but not quite a '60s guitar. But hey, those are tough to come by without paying a couple 10 grand. Classic '60s
Yeah.
acoustic. Yeah, and if you did have issues with like going back into what I'd say, like the solo part, we're trying to get that down, and then Marcus is just like, uh, all right, cool, we got the form ready. Now Zakh, just play better. It's over. Now we gotta repeat it till he had the right drum breakdown, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
For that part.
You play 3 minutes of song just to nail one part. Sometimes that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's what happened. Because we don't like cutting and pasting, but we kind of did that. Because very few people are listening in on that, so only few will know that. So, um, yeah, was there anything else? Or
What's one important consideration to nailing style on drums?
Um, geez. A lot of it was just, it's simple, but intricate with the inner dynamics of your playing. So almost this whole time we're talking, the scarring of Ain't That Just Like Me, where I'm playing that, because your bass drum is playing four on the floor, you got that boom, 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 boom. but the beat, especially on the chorus, has this, I think it was the solo, where it's boom, 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 so yeah, it was this boom, 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 the bass drum, while I'm playing this, and sometimes it was Marcus saying, "Oh, you're playing too loud on the cymbal, take it back." So now I'm trying to think that while also like playing this bass drum, right? And I'm not used. And when you're playing a couple hours worth of cut, 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 the classic one, I'm doing cut, 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 and it just throws my brain off. And so
it's so intense.
Easy, but you've got to stay consistent with your inner dynamics on the drums. But I guess before you even do that, it's the knowing that push-pull of that bass drum doing boom, ka, ka, boom, ka, ka. Which you just got to listen to a lot of early 60s music is really it.
So it becomes something you hear when you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's just constantly playing in the back of your mind.
No, whenever you're driving, I drive a lot, so I just would, alright, let's play one of those songs, let's play,
Were there any songs in particular that were challenging? You mentioned Eat That Just Like Me. Any others? Either for drums, or maybe from a different perspective too, that were, I don't know, hard to conduct, or...
Well, it was just more throwing me for a loop, and then when you heard it back in the studio, that's what really, like, I wish I recorded myself. I could have, but it was just, it's difficult, the setup where you have someone else doing it for you, just listen, go back. And every song had their challenge for me, honestly. It was, Good Lovin'. It was more around the tempo, staying in tempo, because I had the form down pretty well, but trying to memorize those breaks, like, baby, I need your good love, or the next one was, and I want to do something different for every time. So there's that little fun part where got something for you, where it's like and then Christian like plays the note because he thought that's where he starts. He's like, oh, it's really minute, but you can hear it. I think it's the last one. It's just snare, cut, cut, and but it's tempo, and then Ain't That Just Like Me, like I told you about that one. And then, but Ooh My Soul was like, oh, this is easy. I think it was my lack of not thinking I need to practice that one. It was the swing of the... It's very bouncy. And I was really trying to connect with all of us, because we're all on the wrong page too. So we should have probably emphasized that or figured that out first. It took like 5 takes, before we got to something we even liked, and then we did 5 more takes to get it right.
Right.
Whereas the easiest song, I think, right, form-wise?
Probably one of them. Yeah, it's funny how deceptive the feel of a song can be to match it, especially if you're not paying attention to it exactly. Then you revert to some other feel. Yeah,
you're easier, not the correct one. Our bonus song, which we will not name, that'll be on the physical and the physical CD and the vinyl, of course, bonus track. So if you want to hear what that is, go check it out. Once it comes out, it'll be a couple weeks. But that one was really easy because it's classic. So
another question from a project standpoint: how much did you want the songs to match the original songs, and how much did you want to make it our own, change, tweak?
I just knew it was going to have our modern influences and we'll have our own little take on it. But I really didn't want to be a cover band. There's 2 things I hated. It was the classic, older guy aspect wearing the golf, or was it? Bowling shirt type. I'm playing my Hofner bass. And really trying to mimic the sound, and it was that, and it was really cheesy, like editing, so it was like really clean too, and that's not why it makes it magical. It was, I want the as close of the recording of the 60s as possible. So if I could take their equipment, take their buildings, just like we'd go in there, it would sound great if we did it our version. I wanted a little bit with the musician. I wanted the swing, the push-pull, which we all understood, which was great aspect of it. But for singers, I think the singing is the biggest thing that would have made it cheesy or more genuine. So I'm glad with Baron and Darian. So with Baron and Darian and even Colton, they've dipped their toes in this older realm of singing, and so they know it, but they wanted to sing a little bit more modern, so I had to kind of push them to be a little bit Liverpudlian, British almost. It was essentially really just telling them be less good. Like, I didn't want them to be pop singers. And I had to keep that in mind too when I was singing. Which Marcus would always criticize for the singers when we talked about it too. So
that's really interesting. I feel like the same thing applies on guitar too. And I know what that means on guitar, but can you talk more about what that means for vocals to be less good?
Yeah, that's right. Jay or whatever, when we were recording one day, I do remember that. It's like, could you be less good?
Yeah, I remember that too.
I think, what was it? Was it? Oh, I don't think it was really the solos. It was just the playing. It was you're hitting the right strings at the right time that you were taught. And it's like, no, you gotta hit the lower ones a few times wrong, or like the higher ones, and kind of clip a string and like get into it, or I don't know. It's just that's what made some of the magic. So
yeah, it's like there's a level of control that you get after practicing a lot, and then like intentionally removing that, I feel like it's a big part of the style.
Yeah. I don't want to get too much into like the album playing, but I remember also talking to you about with guitar, different guitar strokes, and I'm like, I don't want to tell Isaac what to do because he's significantly better. But here's one thing, and it's so great because you like take that into consideration. If it was new, you like embrace it, and go with it. You're like, oh, that's really cool. Master it, and then move on. So that's really cool on your part with things you weren't familiar with, and then you're just like, oh, that's another tool for my toolbox for the Mersey beat style.
What's one thing you would do differently in the project if you could do it again, or in the future when you do it again?
I would have. I'm gonna experiment more with the drums, especially.
Ooh, yeah.
Get a nice, really go deeper into the sound, because I had like the gist of it, and I'm like, all right, I'll do that. But now that I learn more about the drum, especially the snare, because it was a little recording aspect that was just I didn't know, but now we did it, and now that's something I'll bring forward when we record, because keeping it sharp, because it would, with the winter when we recorded, it would expand and then it would tighten it, but because it is a bunch of 50 and 60 part drum kit, Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster, for those who are literally particular. Biggest thing, and really nailing down the swing, emphasizing this is the swing we're working with, because Mersey beat is from straight to swingy, jazz or swing, I guess that's the best word.
Yeah.
Yeah, off the top of my head, those are the two.
Cool, that's really awesome. I'm excited to hear like what fine tuning on drums you do.
Yeah, there's a lot of experimenting, so we've been doing that for 2 years, so kind of got more ideas. Well, awesome. I think that concludes our series for the Rares project. What did I say at the beginning? I'll just probably copy and paste and put it right here. And that concludes our Talking with the Rares.
Talking with the Rares.
And that concludes our Talking with the Rares. So, thanks again, Isaac. Hope you have a good one.
Thanks for chatting.
Yeah, thank you. See ya.